Christmas Eve revelation: how a billionaire dad's heart was changed by an amazing homeless woman. The snow fell heavy that Christmas Eve, blanketing the high-end suburb in unyielding white, turning lavish houses into frosty, ghostly castles. But for all their shimmering elegance, the homes felt hollow. Charlie Bennett, a 45-year-old tech billionaire, meticulously fine-tuned details for his upcoming extravagant holiday party. The pomp and grandeur captured every ounce of his genius, but at what cost? His 16-year-old daughter, Lily, felt more like a stranger. The void between them echoed louder than the laughter echoing from the gatherings of their affluent neighbors. Inside the gleaming confines of his mansion, Charlie was obsessed with perfection: towering trees adorned with pristine ornaments, gourmet meals prepared by the finest chefs. He believed that these pieces of luxury would create the perfect Christmas for Lily, yet her heart craved warmth and connection, something money couldn't buy. Across town, Mary, a 40-year-old homeless woman, braved the cold, searching for shelter. Not far from Charlie's world of excess, she found solace volunteering at a community center. Her days were filled with helping others, creating a stark contrast to the loneliness she felt clawing at her own heart. As storm clouds gathered, the center buzzed with life, compassion pouring out of every nook, a vivid tapestry of perseverance and camaraderie. Fate crafted a twisted turn when Charlie's luxury SUV sputtered and broke down just outside the community center. Annoyed and embarrassed, he stepped out of the car, expecting to blend into his surroundings. But the moment he saw Mary, bundled in layers but radiating warmth despite the chill, something in him shifted. Curiosity pulled him forward, yet judgment held him back. He asked, with a tone more dismissive than he intended, "You volunteering here tonight?" As their eyes locked, Mary met his gaze with an unwavering strength, sharing her journey through misfortune, survival, and hope. Each word she spoke unraveled Charlie's preconceived notions, opening a door to compassion he had long shut. "Listen, I know it's hard to see people like me," Mary said, her voice steady. "But we're all just trying to make it through, just like you. Maybe Christmas isn't about what you have, but who you're with." The words wrapped around Charlie's heart, squeezing until it hurt. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Mary's story echoed deep within, sparking memories of laughter with Lily. The thought hit him like a winter gust: he'd built walls of wealth and status, leaving love trapped on the other side. Attempting to mend the frayed connection, he reached out to his daughter, inviting her to join him that very night to deliver supplies to those overlooked, transforming a holiday spectacle into a meaningful mission. As the snow continued to swirl around them, Charlie felt a flicker of hope. Together, father and daughter could reclaim lost time, healing wounds with shared laughter and a purpose far grander than what glittered under the tree. But as they mingled with their newfound community at the center, tension pricked the air. Charlie's well-off colleagues, astonished and bewildered, eyed Mary with judgment. Clashing perceptions filled the room, raising a poignant question: could dignity endure among the privileged? The warmth of connection was now at risk, teetering on the edge of prejudice and misunderstanding, as the night swirled with uncertainty. Would they embrace the true spirit of Christmas, or let it slip through their fingers, lost in the shadows of old ways? The laughter and chatter inside the community center filled the air with life, but Charlie felt the unease rising within him. Every disapproving glance from his colleagues cut like icy daggers, and he could sense the walls of judgment closing in. He glanced at Mary, her face still aglow with passion for her work, seemingly untouched by the scrutiny. Her confidence shone like a beacon amidst the clouds of doubt and division. "Charlie, what are you doing here?" One of his colleagues, Derek, sneered, pretending to check his expensive watch as if time was precious in this grim setting. The others joined in, their laughter shrill and insincere, amplifying the uncomfortable tension. "Did you forget to buy more cashmere sweaters?" Another chimed in, smirking. Charlie inhaled sharply, feeling a rush of heat to his cheeks. He wanted to retreat, to shield himself from the barbs of entitlement he once embraced, but instead, he stepped toward the table where snacks were being prepared. It was a small gesture, yet it signified a subtle rebellion against the privilege he had known all his life. "Actually, I'm here to help," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. The words hung in the air, met with stunned silence. Mary, noticing the exchange, smiled warmly at him. She leaned in and whispered, "Remember, it's not where you come from, but where you choose to go from here." The moment pierced through the fog of confusion swirling in Charlie's mind. The harsh laughter faded into a low hum as he focused on the twinkle in Mary's eyes. She had shown him more about compassion and the human experience in 10 minutes than his wealth had conveyed in a lifetime. With newfound determination, he called to Lily, who was chatting with a few volunteers across the room. Her smile faded as she approached, a look of concern crossing her face. Charlie could tell she had noticed the tension too. In that moment, he took her hand and squeezed it gently. "Lily, can you give me a hand with these boxes?" he asked, gesturing toward the supplies stacked in the corner. Her expression softened, and she nodded, eager to help. Together, they began to distribute blankets and food to those in need, the initial barriers of misunderstanding slowly starting to dissolve. As they worked, laughter replaced tension, and genuine connections formed. Charlie couldn't help but glance at Mary, who effortlessly moved from one person to another, distributing kindness with every word she shared. Her laughter filled the air, warmer than the cocoa steaming in cups around the room. "Dad," Lily said quietly, her voice barely rising above the chatter. "I'm really glad we came. This feels good." A warmth spread through Charlie's chest, a feeling he had nearly forgotten. This was the essence of Christmas, something he chased but never caught. But here, wrapped in this simple act, he finally felt it, the richness of togetherness, the magic of community. Yet, just as contentment settled over him, Derek's sharp voice cut through like a sudden drop in temperature. "We need to talk later. I don't think this is the image we want to project." Charlie's heart sank. Would the pull of old habits and perspectives prove too strong? Could he and Lily truly embrace this change, this spirit of connection, despite the resistance boiling around them? Before he could ponder further, Mary approached quietly, her eyes scanning the room. "Sometimes, the hardest battles are within ourselves," she said softly. Charlie felt a weight settle on his shoulders. Was he ready to face that battle? And even more importantly, was he prepared to stand firm against the expectations of his world for the sake of authenticity? With his heart pounding, he met her gaze, sensing the gravity of the moment. Would he let the old ways slip through his fingers like so much melted snow? Or could this Christmas Eve become a turning point, reigniting the bonds of family and love that truly mattered? Charlie felt the pressure of Derek's gaze drilling into him. It was as if the weight of 1,000 expectations hung in the air, threatening to choke the newfound light inside him. He had always navigated life surrounded by privilege, a cocoon of wealth that softened every blow. But now, it felt different. It felt raw. "Dad, are you okay?" Lily's voice brought him back. Her eyes searched his face, looking for reassurance. Her innocence touched him deeply. "I'm good. Just thinking," he replied. His voice was steadier, though inside, he battled waves of uncertainty. Would he really push back against the currents that had always guided him? They continued to hand out blankets, and soon Charlie found himself surrounded by laughter again. The warmth of smiling faces began to thaw his heart. People, some worn from the trials of life, were still eager to share their stories. A man in a well-worn jacket shared a joke, a young mother cradling a baby shared her gratitude. With every second, it became more apparent that he was no longer just a visitor in this space, he was part of something profound. And then Mary reappeared, her presence illuminating the surroundings. She had a way of drawing people in, making them feel seen. "Charlie," she called, her voice clear above the din. "We're organizing a little gift exchange for the kids who come here. Would you like to help?" He hesitated, that familiar doubt creeping back into his mind. "I don't belong here," the inner voice tugged insistently. But then he looked at Lily, her eyes sparkling with excitement, and felt a fierce desire to embrace this moment, to embrace her. "Absolutely," Charlie replied, surprising even himself with the enthusiasm in his voice. An electrifying change surged through him, the kind that promised possibility. As they began to organize the gifts, Charlie witnessed firsthand the joy these small tokens of kindness brought to the kids. Each little face lit up as they unwrapped their treasures. His heart soared. It was a reminder that time held value more precious than any luxury item he once chased. Time shared with others, compassion exchanged in meaningful ways. "Look, Dad," Lily beamed, holding up a stuffed bear. "This one is perfect for Tommy." "Perfect. Let us put a bow on it, shall we?" He felt an overwhelming swell of pride as they worked side by side. In that small act, he felt things shifting inside him. A warmth spread, pushing the chill of judgment further away, yet Derek's words lingered, still hanging, like a dark cloud. They needed to talk. Charlie knew Derek was right in some respects, he had responsibilities. But what kind of a legacy would he leave behind? Would he continue down the path of privilege, or could he carve out a new identity, one wrapped in authenticity and love? Before he could spiral into those thoughts, Mary sidled up next to him. "It's what you do in these moments that define you," she said softly, a knowing smile gracing her lips. Her words resonated, igniting a fire inside him. He had spent considerable time building walls, safeguarding himself from the vulnerabilities of others. But wasn't he at time to dismantle those very barriers? As the evening unfolded, Charlie could feel the distance between his old life and this new reality begin to blur. These connections, raw and true, were beginning to carve out a new path. The event came alive around him as families danced, laughter erupted, and joy washed over like a gentle tide. Charlie caught himself laughing more freely, that weight he had carried for too long slowly dissolving. But then his gaze fell on Derek, still lingering at the edge of the festivities, arms crossed tight, a storm of disapproval brewing behind his narrowed brows. Charlie felt a tug of responsibility clash with a newfound awakening of his spirit. Could he bear the confrontation? Should he stand tall with Mary and Lily by his side, or curl back into the protective shell of his old life? With each heartbeat, the answer grew clearer: tomorrow, they would face the truth. But for tonight, the question danced in the air: would Charlie find the courage to embrace the change when it mattered most? The next morning dawned crisp and bright, the sky a clear blue canvas overhead. Charlie woke up feeling a strange blend of anticipation and anxiety. He glanced at the clock. It was time to get up, but the weight of the day ahead pressed heavily on his chest. Lily was already awake, her little feet shuffling across the hardwood floor as she set up her dolls. "Dad! Can we go back to the shelter today?" she called out, her face beaming with excitement. "Sure, Lily. I think that's a great idea," he replied, his voice steadier than he felt. He moved to join her, gathering the courage for what lay ahead. Today would be more than just giving back. It was about facing Derek and finally addressing the creeping dread that had taken root in his heart. By the time they arrived at the shelter, Charlie felt the old thoughts creeping back in. What would Derek think? Would he chastise him for his new path? Would Charlie crumble under the expectations of a life he was slowly trying to walk away from? They stepped inside and were immediately wrapped in the warmth of familiar faces and joyful chaos. The decorations still dazzled, and the scent of cinnamon and pine wafted through the space. Mary smiled brightly upon seeing them. "You're back. Just in time for the party to really kick off. Are there more gifts to wrap?" Lily asked, bouncing on her toes. "Absolutely. And we could use all the help we can get," Mary replied, her enthusiasm contagious. As they dove into preparation, laughter filled the air, and Charlie found himself drawn into the whirl of excitement. Each gift wrapped felt like a small act of rebellion against the fear that threatened to hold him captive. It was liberating, freeing him from the chains of expectation. Mid-morning, Derek appeared at the door, a stark shadow against the lively backdrop. Charlie's breath hitched, recognizing the looming confrontation. Derek scanned the room, disapproval etched across his face, until his eyes settled on Charlie. The moment felt electric, expectations crackling in the space between them. "Charlie," Derek called, his voice firm but respectful. Charlie's heart raced, caught between two worlds. "We need to talk," Derek continued, stepping closer. Mary noticed the shift in Charlie's demeanor, her eyes flickering with concern. With a gentle hand on his shoulder, she whispered, "Remember, you are not alone. You've been transforming this whole time. Just be honest." Charlie took a deep breath, his nerves steadying for a moment. "Okay," he managed, looking Derek in the eye. "Let us talk." They stepped outside, the cool air nipping at their skin. The festive music drifted into the background as Charlie faced his father, the weight of their family's expectations melding with the warmth of a community he had begun to cherish. "Is this really where you want to be?" Derek asked, his tone softer now. "I think so," Charlie replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've realized that living in a bubble surrounded by money hasn't brought me true happiness. And I want more for Lily than that life. I want her to know love and compassion, to understand that there are people out there who need our help." Behind Derek's furrowed brows, Charlie could see the flicker of worry give way to something else, an understanding, perhaps, that this shift was not just about Charlie, but about the legacy Derek himself had created. With trembling hands, Charlie watched as Derek let out a long breath. The moment hung heavy with unspoken feelings, an uncharted territory for both of them. But before Derek could respond, a loud cheer erupted from inside the shelter. The sound jolted them back into the moment, and Charlie felt the urgency surge inside him. Maybe today was the day for change, not just for him but for their whole family. As they turned back toward the shelter, the laughter poured out into the cold air, following them like a beacon of hope. Would Derek embrace this world, or would he remain an anchor holding Charlie back? He didn't know, but in that moment, he felt a seed of courage taking root, ready to blossom. As they stepped back into the shelter, the warmth enveloped them. The hustle and bustle inside contrasted sharply with the winter chill outside. Charlie cast a quick glance at Lily, who was already caught in the rhythm of laughter, her tiny hands wrapped around a shiny gift with a smile that reached her eyes. It was a comfort to see her so happy, yet a knot tightened in Charlie's stomach as he felt the moment to confront Derek slip away. "Charlie." Mary waved him over. "We just assigned the roles for the skit. You're going to love this. It's a holiday story about giving." "Sounds fun," Charlie replied, masking his apprehension with a smile. But his mind raced with thoughts of what Derek might say next, the weight of the conversation still hanging heavily between them. Ignoring the excitement around him, Charlie scanned the room. He spotted Derek leaning against the far wall, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. It seemed like he was searching for something, approval, perhaps. Or maybe he simply didn't know how to approach this new version of his son. "Are you going to join us, Dad?" Lily called, her voice cutting through the tension. Derek straightened, looking torn between wanting to stay distant and wanting to connect. "Maybe just for a moment," he replied, moving slowly toward the group. Mary grinned as she explained the skit. "It's about a family who learns the true meaning of Christmas through helping others. It perfectly captures what we're trying to celebrate here." Her words hung in the air, and Charlie felt a sudden rush of hope. Maybe this skit could bridge the gap between him and Derek, allowing them both to share an experience that underscored what mattered: the joy of giving. As the cast gathered, Charlie realized they were a mix of shelter staff and residents. He could see the spark of excitement on their faces, mirroring his daughter's enthusiasm. Maybe this would be the spark he needed to ignite a conversation with his father. With each character stepping forward, Charlie's heart began to race, not with fear, but with possibility. After a few minutes of practice, it was time to perform. Charlie took his place beside Lily, who was dressed as a little angel with a shiny halo. The room quieted as they began, everyone's attention shifting toward the makeshift stage. They recounted a tale of struggle turning to hope, of a holiday miracle born from generosity and compassion. As they played their parts, Charlie's gaze darted to Derek, who stood at the back, arms now uncrossed. The initial frown had softened into a tentative smile, one that flickered with the beginnings of understanding. Each line delivered brought a newfound rush of belief for what he envisioned for his family and the different path he knew they could take together. When the play concluded, applause erupted from the audience, echoing off the walls, creating a joyous atmosphere that drowned by the harsh realities outside. Charlie caught Derek's eye, and for the first time, he felt as if there was a chance for a real conversation. "Charlie," Derek called, breaking the joyful noise. "Can we talk again, for real this time?" Charlie's heart leapt. Today could turn into something monumental. Would he find the words to express everything he felt? He nodded, swallowing hard, ready to engage in a discussion that could change everything. Yet, as Derek stepped forward, an unexpected figure appeared at the door, causing the energy in the room to shift. Was it someone from the past? Charlie's pulse quickened with anticipation. Who was she, and what role would she play in this unfolding story? The silhouette at the door was barely illuminated by the shelter's dim overhead lights, but as she stepped into the warm glow, Charlie's heart stuttered. It was her, the woman from his past he had never expected to see again. As she moved further inside, brushing snowflakes from her hair, recognition dawned on him as if she had appeared from his memories, ready to unravel years of silence. "Mom?" The word slipped from his lips before he could catch it, and the world around him faded, leaving just the two of them. Derek, who had been taking confident strides toward Charlie, froze at the sound. His face, once soft with hope, hardened as he turned to the person who had walked back into their lives unannounced. The woman looked just as shocked as the rest of the room. "Charlie," she said, her voice trembling, "I came to see you after all this time." Charlie felt anger rising within him, mixing uncomfortably with the rush of emotion from the skit. How could she show up now, with the holidays bringing up buried memories of loss, pain, and confusion? "Let me explain," she started, but the crowd's excitement was dissipating with their confusion. People shifted in their seats, their chatter evaporating into whispers as they tried to process the unexpected reunion. Derek stepped closer, his own pain evident. "You left us. You made a choice." Charlie couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Dad, maybe she has something important to say," he interjected, his heart racing. The static in the air was thick with unresolved feelings and unspoken words. "I just wanted to apologize," she continued, her voice cutting through the tension. "I knew I was leaving, but I thought it was best for all of us." "Best for us?" Derek shot back, frustration simmering just below the surface. "You didn't even give us a chance. You just vanished, and we had to piece our lives back together, alone." Charlie felt torn. While he longed for an explanation, the anger and abandonment had left scars that he wasn't sure he could overlook. He glanced at Lily, who was confused, her innocent eyes darting between them as if watching a ping-pong match of emotions. And there it was, a glimmer of hope within the chaos. Perhaps this was their chance, a moment to find healing, not only for his own open wounds but for Lily too. "Mom," he said slowly, "if you're here to talk, then let us really talk. No more hiding." The woman hesitated, the weight of her past evident in her expression. Did she realize it would take more than words to mend what had broken? The crowd seemed to lean in, their energy shifting as they sensed the raw truth of the moment unfolding. Charlie could almost feel the tension coiling like a spring, ready to burst. "I was scared," she whispered, her voice cracking. "But I've changed." "Maybe we can give you a chance," Charlie said, his heart racing at the uncertainty of the journey ahead. As they stood on the precipice of this fragile new connection, Derek opened his mouth as if to voice another protest, but the silence enveloped them, thick as snow outside, and just when Charlie thought they might finally untangle their complicated emotions, the door swung open once more, drawing everyone's gaze. Another figure stepped inside, casting a long shadow across the room, and Charlie felt the chill of the outside air rush in once again. Who were they, and how would they impact this already tumultuous moment? The figure that entered was tall and imposing, a stark contrast to the warmth that enveloped Charlie, his mother, Derek, and Lily. The room fell into a hush, anticipation threading through the crowd like electricity. This newcomer wore a heavy coat that barely suppressed the chill, and his expression was unreadable. "Charlie," the man said, his voice low and gravelly, cutting through the tension like a knife. "It's time we had a talk." Charlie's gut tightened. "Who are you?" "I'm here on behalf of your mother," the man said, gesturing towards her. "What you don't know is that she didn't just decide to leave." Stunned murmurs floated around the room. Charlie's heart raced. An explanation felt like a slap and a hug all at once. It kindled his curiosity while sending his protective instincts into overdrive. His mother's eyes were wide, pleading, as if she knew this man held answers that could shatter or heal. "Enough." Derek's voice rang out, strained and bitter. "We don't need more lies. We need the truth." Charlie wrapped a reassuring arm around Lily, who stood next to him, confused and frightened. His thoughts spun like a whirlwind. The unsteady ground beneath their fragile reunion felt ready to buckle again. "I can't stand here and let you twist this," Derek continued, a bitter edge in his voice. "She chose to leave us. How can anything else justify that pain?" Charlie felt a pang of sympathy for his father but couldn't shake the urgent need for clarity. "Please, what do you mean she didn't choose?" His words came out more desperate than he intended, laced with a mix of hope and skepticism. The man took a step forward, leaning slightly into the light, revealing a face marked by age and worry. "She did what she thought was best to protect you both, a decision that came with sacrifices you can't even begin to understand." His mother stepped closer, the weight of unspoken pain thick in the air. "Charlie, I wanted to tell you everything," she implored, tears brimming in her eyes. "It was never just about abandoning you. It was about saving you." The room swirled around him, the betrayal and love colliding in a crash of emotions. "Saving us from what?" he demanded, his voice rising. "What could ever justify destroying our family?" "From the truth," the man said, his eyes dark with an unshakable resolve. "From a world that would have crushed you." Charlie felt a twinge of fear gripping his chest. He glanced at Lily, whose tiny hand held tightly onto his, brimming with innocence. Whatever this truth was, it could shatter what little stability they had left. Derek opened his mouth to retaliate, but the air was thick with tension, everyone waiting for the man to continue. "Listen," he said, his tone softening. "I have documents, evidence, things that will explain everything: who you really are, Charlie. Who your mother was really trying to protect you from." Charlie felt the weight of the moment press down on him, gripping onto the fragile strands of his resolve. Just then, before he could respond, a sound echoed from the corner of the room, a soft whimper, almost lost beneath the growing dread. He turned and saw Lily staring up at him, eyes wide and frightened, her innocence shimmering against the turmoil. As her little voice cut through the heavy silence, asking questions too burdensome for her age, Charlie realized this moment was only the beginning. What would it take to face this truth without destroying everything they had left? The air crackled with uncertainty, and as the gathered crowd held their breaths, another revelation loomed, dark and heavy. What awaited them could either bring closure or push them back into the shadows of unhealed scars. The man glanced around the room, gauging the reactions of the gathered crowd. His face hardened, and he seemed to draw courage from the gravity of the moment. "I know this is difficult," he said, taking a deep breath. "But what I have to say could change everything." Derek scoffed, his anger barely contained. "Change? What's left to change? Our family was destroyed the moment she walked out." A flicker of doubt crossed Charlie's mind. His father's words stung, even though he could see the pain twisted in Derek's face. Yet, deep down, hope mingled with confusion. He needed to understand. His mother reached out as if to hold on to her past. "Derek, please. Just let him speak," she pleaded, her voice shaking. The man stepped closer, his eyes fixed on Charlie. "I understand you're angry. But you must grasp the full picture. The documents I have, they lay bare a truth that can't just be ignored." "What truth?" Charlie asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The air felt charged, and his eyes darted to Lily, who was still holding his hand tightly, seeking reassurance. "Charlie, you were never just a normal kid," the man said, his gaze unwavering. "You come from a lineage far beyond what anyone imagined. It's a bloodline that holds more danger than you could ever fathom." Charlie's heart raced. Words like danger and bloodline sparked a million questions, but the weight of the moment held him captive. "What do you mean? What lineage? Who are we?" Derek stepped in, his voice explosive. "This is ridiculous. You think throwing around words like that is going to change anything? If you cared at all, you would have spared us this torment long ago." A murmur ran through the crowd. People leaned in, as if the very air around them thickened with the weight of the secret. Ignoring Derek's outburst, the man continued, "Charlie, your family has always been in the shadows. Those who wanted to keep you safe did what they had to do. Your mother left because she knew the truth of who was after you." "After me?" Charlie echoed, panic creeping under his skin. Memories of whispers in dark corners and furtive glances rushed back to him. For the first time, he realized they weren't just figments of a child's imagination. Things that stem from a past you can't escape, forces that will stop at nothing to bring harm to your family, the man said, urgency dripping from each word. Shocked silence enveloped the room. Charlie's heart thundered against his chest as dread wrapped around him. His life had felt chaotic, but this twisted everything he believed. Had his mother's choice been made out of fear? "Charlie, you need to listen," his mother urged, tears glimmering in her eyes. "I never wanted to leave you. I would have given anything to keep you safe, but enough." Derek shouted, frustration pouring from him like a tidal wave. "You made your choice, Claire. You walked away from us." An unsettling silence settled afterward, thick and heavy. Charlie's thoughts swirled like a storm. He looked at Lily, her small face scrunching in confusion, then back to the man. "So, what can we do? What if he's right? What if we are in danger?" The man held up his hands. "First, we find out the truth together. Then we prepare." The stakes felt higher than ever. Charlie's chest tightened with uncertainty, but a deeper fire began to spark within him. Was he ready to uncover a family history woven with shadows? His mother took a step forward, heart in her eyes. "Charlie, whatever is coming, we'll face it together." The door creaked open behind them, and a gust of wind swept through the room, chilling everyone to the bone. Charlie turned, hearing footsteps approaching, his heart thumping louder. "Who's there?" he called, a knot of anxiety tightening in his stomach. The answer to his question could change everything once more. A figure stepped into the dim light of the room. Charlie squinted, trying to make out who it was. The shadows played tricks, but the outline slowly sharpened into focus. It was a woman disheveled, yet her presence commanded attention. She had a warmth in her eyes that cut through the tension like a beacon. "Jesse?" Charlie's voice cracked, disbelief mingling with hope. He hadn't seen her since everything changed. Jesse breathed, rushing toward him. The moment she reached him, she enveloped him in a fierce embrace. For a brief second, Charlie felt safe, cocooned in her warmth, the chaos of the moment fading away. She had always been a source of light in his darkest times. "Are you okay?" he whispered, pulling back to look into her eyes. They held a depth of understanding that made him feel seen. She nodded, but Charlie could tell something was weighing heavily on her heart. I came as soon as I heard. I didn't know it had gotten this bad. Her eyes flicked momentarily to the man who had stirred the pot of their family's chaos, the crowd murmured. Derek stood frozen, disbelief etched across his face, while Claire watched with a mixture of relief and worry. Why are you here? Derek's voice shattered the fragile moment. This isn't your place. You don't belong here. Enough! Charlie shouted, surprising even himself. The weight of his father's disdain no longer swallowed him whole. Jessie's been here for me when none of you were. She knows things. She's different. A faint smile danced on Jessie's lips, and she stepped forward. I didn't mean to interrupt. But I felt like you all needed to know some truths too. Charlie furrowed his brow, drawing closer to her. What do you mean? She took a deep breath, gathering the courage to spill what had been brewing inside her. I've seen things, Charlie. I've felt them. There are threads connecting us, all things you can't even imagine. Your bloodline, it pulls at the fabric of this world. She hesitated, scanning the room to ensure everyone was listening. You think I came back on a whim? I am tied to this too, she continued, her gaze fixating on the man who had first revealed it all. I've been running from it just like you. I didn't know how to face it, but you have to. If we're going to protect what matters, we can't ignore it anymore. A ripple of unease spread through the group. Everyone shifted slightly, eyes darting from Charlie to Jessie, then to the man, who appeared both intrigued and apprehensive. Jessie, what do you think we need to do? Charlie asked, clutching her hand. I can help you find the answers. Her voice was steady, despite the chaos swirling around them. Together we need to piece together these fragments of the past. There's a reason your mother left, Charlie. There's a reason behind all of this. His heart beat frantically. Jessie was so brave, standing toe-to-toe with Derek, calling him out. But could he summon a fraction of her strength? The storm in his chest began to settle as determination took root. I want to know the truth, Jessie. Whatever it takes, I'm in. Derek crossed his arms, hiding the vulnerability beneath his gruff exterior. This is crazy. You don't know what you're getting into. No, Charlie replied, steadying his voice. We don't. But that's the point. If we stand together, we can face whatever is coming. The man's expression softened, approval creeping into his eyes. That's why you must prepare. History has a way of repeating itself. You need to learn about the powers that seek to keep you in the dark. Charlie's mind raced with his mother's desperate plea, Jessie's fierce loyalty, and the weight of his father's rage. This was more than family drama now, it was a battle for survival. The air crackled around them, heavy with the urgency of uncharted paths. As tension sizzled and dread mingled with hope, Charlie's heart thrummed with a new sense of purpose. A distant sound caught everyone's attention, footsteps echoed from outside. With each step came the promise of new revelations. Who now? Derek snapped, his patience wearing thin. As Charlie turned toward the door once more, a chill gripped him. What lay beyond could alter everything they thought they knew again. The door swung open with a creak, revealing a man dressed in dark clothing, his sharp features framed by tousled hair. The room fell silent, all eyes fixating on the newcomer, a blend of tension and curiosity buzzing in the air. Charlie, the man said, his voice low and firm. I've been sent to find you. We need to talk. Panic fluttered in Charlie's chest. Who are you? He managed, glancing at Jessie, who stood beside him, her grip tightening around his arm. I'm Samuel, the man replied, stepping inside as he surveyed the crowd that had gathered, the mix of confusion and anger swirling. I'm here to protect you, to prepare you for what's coming. What's coming? Derek interjected, doubt heavy in his tone. And why should we trust you? Because, Samuel said, meeting Derek's fierce gaze with an unyielding stare, there's a dark legacy surrounding Charlie's bloodline. They want him, and they won't stop until they get what they believe is theirs. The words hung in the air like a winter storm, a chill settling into everyone's bones. What do you mean, what do they want? Charlie felt his stomach drop. Samuel turned his piercing eyes to Charlie. Your mother didn't leave to abandon you, she left to protect you from those who seek to harness your lineage for their nefarious desires. You're part of something greater than you realize, Charlie. Charlie's heart raced as he exchanged worried glances with Jesse, Lily, and even Derek. These revelations spiraled, creating a whirlwind of emotions. What had they stumbled into? Your mother has been running from her past, Samuel continued, his voice gentle yet firm. And it's time for you to learn the truth. Together, you can confront whatever lies ahead. Out of the corner of his eye, Charlie sensed Claire's tension as she took a cautious step toward Samuel. What do we have to do? She asked, her voice trembling. The first step is understanding who you are, Charlie, and what you carry in your blood. We will meet tonight, away from prying eyes. There's no time to waste, Samuel urged. As the urgency of his words settled in, Charlie's mind surged with thoughts of protecting Lily, of wanting to break free from the chaos that had enveloped their lives. Perhaps this was the moment he had been hoping for. Are you ready to face this challenge? Jessie asked, her eyes sparkling with determination. Charlie nodded, a wave of resolve washing over him. Together, he said firmly, his voice growing steady. He realized that despite the tumult, they had each other, and that gave him the courage to know they could untangle this web of secrets. Tonight, Samuel confirmed. The truth will set you free, if you're willing to confront it. As everyone dispersed, getting lost in their thoughts, Charlie felt a palpable shift within him. He looked at Lily, who was still clutching his hand, her innocent gaze searching his face for reassurance. We'll be okay, right? She whispered. Yeah, kiddo. We'll be okay, he promised, his heart swelling with newfound courage. The sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the shelter as the snow glistened outside, twinkling like stars amidst the darkness. In that moment, Charlie knew they were on the brink of something monumental, a turning point not just for him, but for his entire family. That night promised more than revelations, it was an opportunity to reclaim love, connection, and the truth that had been buried deep. And with each heartbeat, he felt stronger, ready to face whatever came next. As evening approached, Charlie walked alongside Jesse, their shared determination carving a path forward. With each step, he shed the weight of expectations, the pain of abandonment, and the fear of the unknown. They would gather tonight, embrace their shared strength, and seek the truth together. Because in this journey through shadows, there burned a flicker of hope, a chance to write their own story, one filled with understanding, compassion, and unity. And within that flickering glow of hope, Charlie finally felt ready to seek out their future together, with all its challenges and all its promise. But before they set off for that pivotal meeting, just one final truth lingered in Charlie's mind: family isn't just defined by blood or past, it's about love, healing, and the bonds they forged beneath the spotlight of adversity. This was just the beginning, and he could hardly wait to see where it would lead. If you felt this story unfold and resonate with your heart, now is the time to show your support. Subscribe immediately to stay connected and not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to keep the algorithm alive, comment below with your reactions and feelings about this unforgettable ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of standing together in this community.